lovely, beautiful people. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We're going to start right off with one of our best songs ever, One Power, just with Linda and everybody else.
One power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. There's one power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But difference only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. Remember when we close our eyes to see such distances we never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem, or Heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. It's the moment of creation, it's an everlasting peace, it's the freedom of forgiveness, it's the sweetness of release, it's the joy of inspiration, it's the sunshine on your face, it's the birthright of our nations, it's the boundlessness of space, it's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep, it's the anger we abandon, for it's love that's most deep. It's my power, it's one power. What we are is it's the power of the love
Good morning again. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Tampa Bay. I'm Reverend Laine Morgan. And I'm so blessed to be the senior minister of this community. And thank you for being on this spiritual walk with me. I love that each and every one of you are here this morning. It's a brand new year. It's a brand new year. And as it's the first Sunday of the year, we have everything new. So new programs. I will say this. Please do not take the program cover with you. Everything on the inside is yours. You can take it all. But leave the program covers, and we restuff them every week and leave them for Remy so he can do it. You can leave them on your seats. You can put them in the offering basket, whatever works for you. But just don't take them out the door. And when you see Rebecca, she's not here this morning, but this is her creativity. So let's always be grateful for Rebecca. And instead, Lori Salvador is back with us this morning. In the role of Rebecca Tunerman, it's Lori Salvador. We'll be playing that role today. So thank you, Lori. We love you. We're glad you're home. So I want to welcome all of you in the room. I also want to consciously welcome those watching on YouTube either right now with all of us or later in the week when they watch it. And thank you for joining us virtually when you can't be in a chair with us getting all of our love in person. If you are a first-time visitor, and I know there are some in the room, welcome. We're glad you found us. And however you found us, I want to hear about that after service. How did you find us? And we welcome you. There are colored lanyards that people have on that are ambassadors. If you are ever willing to be an ambassador, put on one of the lanyards, and that means you know where the bathrooms are, you know what's going on, and you who are new. We want you to feel welcome here. We embrace and celebrate and expect all forms of diversity in our room. So we are so very happy that you're here. There are blue cards in your program, and if you fill those out as a first-time visitor, we want to send you home with a Science of Mind magazine so that you can know more about our philosophy and what we teach around here. So those are in there as well. You can give those to one of the greeters or somebody with a lanyard, and you'll get your Science of Mind magazine. So you can see that our holiday tree of belonging is gone. For those of you who weren't here, it was here, and it was really amazing. And I do want to give a final update for those of you who are tracking and playing along with our December Magic fundraiser. There should have been at the end 60 ornaments. We had $5,987 raised in that fundraiser. Nice. Give yourself a hand. Yeah, on behalf of the board, on behalf of everyone in the room, since when we give to each other. We are blessed, and that was just an amazing way to end the year. Deep gratitude for anyone who participated in the Magical December. It was amazing. And you will see in the offering baskets when they come around later, I put all the chocolate rainbow balls in there, the ornaments in there. Take one. If you participated in the fundraiser, hold one up, Keith. They're chocolate. If you participated, take one out of the offering basket and enjoy that. They won't last till next year, so enjoy them. So as you can see from your program, our theme this year is a grand rising. And I'm going to tell a little story about how that theme became our theme. But you can guess that we're kind of setting our sights on higher consciousness, rising to another level of living, going up on that spiral staircase I talked about in Sacred Cup this morning. Just all of our lessons are going to support us having a grand rising in 2024. And that leads us to our affirmation of the day. And so it is, I start each day with a grand rising. Can we say that together?
I start each day with a grand rising.
Lovely. And I do want to draw your attention to the back of your programs. The order of service has changed. Our order of service is very different this year. We have geared the first half of the service to be appropriate for not only everybody in the room, but everybody watching online. And then toward the end of the service, we're going to close out our virtual service and continue here in the room with all of us here. And new this year, Reverend Dieter and I have agreed to stay in the sanctuary after service most Sundays for Q&A. So we can have a dialogue. If you have something that comes up in the lesson or a song or anything that strikes you that you want to talk about more, ask a question, just stay in the sanctuary and I will take questions and try to find some answers for you today as well. So Dieter's going to participate in that too. Our practitioner today is Ellen Finner. She's going to be doing a reading and a prayer in a little while. That hasn't changed. And also that hasn't changed is Derek is back as our musician. Things about music has changed, and that is the entire time that we are online, all of the music is going to be copyright compliant, meaning we are going to be doing New Thought music through Empower Music and Arts, which is our New Thought organization run by Sue Riley, who is actually in Unity of Clearwater. We are going to be using songs that you all know and love. Daniel Nahmod, Karen Drucker, all of Gary Lynn Floyd, all of the New Thought musicians will be the first couple of songs in the service. And then when we go offline, then Derek can do his thing and we can have any kind of song. So just a little bit about that music being different. But first, before we get to more music, Randy's going to give the announcements of the morning. And the announcements are always going to be those appropriate for the online group and for us in person. So come on up, Randy.
Hey, Randy.
Yay, Randy.
Thank you. First of all, let me say Happy New Year to all of you. It is so great to see you. I know that many of you are making resolutions for this coming year. You're committing yourself to making yourself better. And I have some suggestions for how you can be better. I want you to recommit to using the Center for Spiritual Living Tampa Bay website. I want you to use social media outlets and our weekly newsletter for all the details of events and classes. Now, if you go into the website, there is a button to sign up and receive our weekly newsletter, which comes out every Thursday. Now, if you sign up, Rebecca will look at your application and see if you are worthy of receiving it. So if you begin getting in the mail, you know that you are worthy. Second, I'd like to invite all of you to take out your cell phones, and before you silence them for the duration of the service, feel free to check in on whatever social media site that you are using, whether it is Facebook, Instagram, or the site formerly known as Twitter, and let everybody know that you are here in the greatest place to be on a Sunday morning. And if you are listening online, I invite you also to check in too as well. Third, I want to remind you that if you are watching virtually, we would love to meet you in person. Come with us on a Sunday morning at 10:30 or join us for one of our online or in-person classes as we put them in the calendar throughout 2024. We welcome your prayer requests by using the prayer card in your programs. You can place these in the offering basket, and you can also submit a prayer request through the website as well. And with that, I will turn it back over to Reverend Laine.
Thank you, Randy. Ooh, lots going on around here. And I agree with Randy. The very best place to get information about times and anything to do with what's going on are the website or the newsletter. So thank you. Each year on the first Sunday of the year, and at least once a month, we remind ourselves of the principles, the spiritual principles that this teaching supports. So I want you to, in this moment, to really pay attention to each one of them and see if your beliefs align with them. And these are great fodder for questions after the service too. So let's read these out loud together.
I believe in one God, one absolute power, the energy of all life, called by many names. I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates our desire to express love. I believe that all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the unity of all life and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of spirit to all.
Thank you. Ellen?
Good morning, everybody. I love seeing this room so full. During the meditation this morning, we talked about our pilot light, that little light inside of us that is always burning, that is always alive, that is always waiting to be fueled by the breath of our own lives. So my reading today is called The World Awaits Your Light. This is from the Science of Mind magazine for this month. Sutta Nipata wrote, "If one going down into a river, swollen and swiftly flowing, is carried away by the current, how can one help others across?" Ernest Holmes said, "We should expect the best and so live that the best may become a part of our experience." If what we focus on expands, then why do we allow ourselves to focus on that which we do not want to see in our experience? What causes us to have a divine insight around an idea, only to then lean into our fears and insecurities, magnifying them in such a way that they drain the life from the insight that only a short time ago felt so important? I can't help but think about all the divine ideas that have never seen the light of day due to an unwillingness to move attention away from fear and toward the possibility of what might be. How many incredible ideas have you had that you were unwilling to give energy to? How many gifts that only you can share with the world have you allowed fear to suffocate? Don't you think it's time for all of us as spiritual beings to have the courage necessary to step toward the unknown, to the light of that divine insight, and share that with others? As first asked by first century Jewish scholar Hillel, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Our physical life is finite in terms of years, and there are things only you can do during this time. Release the fear and have the courage to share your greatness with the world. We await your light. And the affirmation says, "Today I release all fears and insecurities that prevent me from sharing my divine ideas and gifts with the world. I move with courage and excitement as I give light to the greatest me." With that in mind, will you pray with me? There is one light, one power, one eternally burning flame that powers the energy of all life. That flame is everywhere present. It is internal, it is eternal. It is the inferno that burns within each of us. Feel that light within you as I feel it within myself. As I allow my thoughts and ideas to give it fuel, to fan it into life, to bring more light into being. I know that that light burns brightly inside of me, just as I know it burns brightly inside of you. We are connected by that common flame. On this morning, in this moment, in this place, our collective breath fuels a new possibility for life. It brings into being more love, more light, more knowing that everything is always moving toward more good. This good is here right now. This good is so palpable in this room. I breathe it in because I know it is the fuel that lights my flame. And I know for each of you that you are burning bright. I am so grateful for this flame. I am so grateful for the knowing that all of us together are creating more light in the world. And I have such faith that that is true, that I can just let this go and know that we are immersed in the light, because it is all around us and everywhere within us. Share with me in knowing that truth by saying, and so it is.
Thank you, Ellen. And now Derek's going to sing another song, and while he sings, we're going to pass this basket of white stones. I'm going to start it with Randy, and it'll go through this section, and come to this section, and then we'll end up back there. And Bob, will you give the final basket back to Lori? Thank you.
This song kind of embodies that perfectly. What it actually means to be you. It isn't like I've always wondered what I was made of, or is this really me? I've only recently discovered I've always stood in the shadows of expectations of me. Well, now that I see there's no judge, there's no jury, now that I know I can take my own road, I feel a freedom that I've never known. Oh, it's about becoming what I never was. It's about unlearning what was never true. It's about unbelieving all the lies that I've been told. Oh, unbecoming is the story of my soul. Everybody's name is given. Nobody asks us who we really are. But after so many years of living, wouldn't think that the answer would still feel so very far. I'm slow, I'm smart, I'm accounting, I'm art, I'm left-brained, alright, I'm a morning person or not. Well, maybe it's time to step outside those lines, see who I find. It's about becoming what I never was. It's about unlearning what was never true. It's about unbelieving all the lies that I've been told. Unbecoming is the story of my soul. Scariest thing is abandoning, disappointing everyone's vision of who I should be. But the only way home is to fly on my own till I know, till I see. It's never was. It's about unlearning what was never true. It's about unbelieving all the lies that I've been told. Oh, unbecoming is the story of my soul. Thank you.
What a beautiful song, Derek. Kind of really fits what we were talking about this morning, doesn't it? That, you know, we are both human and we are spirit, and our soul is trying to burst forth and kind of let our human being self unbecome a little bit. So thank you for that beautiful piece of music. Leads us perfectly to our lesson this morning. So today I want to introduce us to our new annual theme, and we'll conclude with the white stone ceremony. Hopefully everybody has a stone and a pen. So first our theme, a grand rising. Where did it come from? So the committee working on the theme, so each year at about, I don't know, March or so, the committee starts to look at the next year and what the theme is going to be and what we're gonna focus on as an organization. And each center around the world, all of us decide how much do we want to focus on the themes, or do we want to go off on our own path. Here in Tampa, we kind of do both. We kind of work with the themes, but then we kind of make it our own too. So at any rate, the committee was working on it, and they came across this really interesting story which sparked their intuition and gave birth to this global theme. And here's the story. So a few years ago, 3 young Black men were sharing a room in a homeless shelter in Oklahoma City. And unexpectedly, the 3 of them kind of immediately felt friendship and community and bonding with each other and support, community and support. And it turns out all 3 of them were kind of similar. They were, kind of wide-eyed, optimistic, and they each had their minds focused on their own understanding of God, actually. And as you can imagine, over the time that they were there in the shelter, they had to navigate kind of complicated social services to get their basic needs met, food and shelter and jobs and transport. And to manage all their daily challenges with homelessness, they leaned on spiritual practice. And somehow together, they shared what they had each learned about spirituality they discovered on their path. And they posted vision boards and on their walls, and they sought kind of spiritual wisdom through oracle cards to kind of spark their intuition. They created and used daily affirmations to keep their spirits lifted. And one day, one of them discovered a greeting that was made popular among Black spiritual community members on TikTok called a grand rising. And for whatever reason, these words just really inspired these 3 young men. And they explained to the shelter staff that they didn't want to begin their day with good morning. They said the word morning sounded like mourning, and they didn't want that. They wanted to experience a grand rising. And so they created this large poster for the shelter and with the words grand rising, and they went about greeting everyone. They languaged it and said grand rising to you and grand rising to you. And over time, those youth moved out of the shelter. One of them returned to family, and it sounds like the other 2 went on this adventure from Oklahoma City to California. And as of the shelter heard of these young boys, they were all doing well. They were doing great. And the story of these young people's grand rising inspired this committee to launch this theme. So a grand rising, a spiritual grand rising every day. It sounds pretty good to me. How about y'all? So last Sunday, we were here and we did a releasing ceremony. How many of you were here for the releasing? A whole bunch of you. Okay, good. And we collectively made personal choices of what we were leaving behind in 2023. We intentionally created this inner vacuum in our lives, this space for newness to be birthed in our fresh new year. We left behind, what did we leave behind? Like old limiting self-thoughts, and we left behind fears that we were tired of them, limiting us, and we left behind old stories and old wounds, and I don't know what all I stirred into the soup, but it was pretty cloudy by the time y'all had done all of your releasing, because each one of us was preparing ourselves for our own grand rising. So since 2020 and the pandemic, it changed all of us personally and collectively, right? We have spent the last nearly 4 years trying to kind of regain our balance and find our footing, and I kind of feel like we're getting there. I really do. We've learned so many lessons. We've gained so much wisdom, not only as individuals, but here as a community. And we now have this opportunity to collectively participate in a grand rising. We can finally kind of shake off the years that have come and gone and step into 2024 in a level of greatness, right? There's a change, a stirring, right? I can just feel it. Can you feel it? I do. And you can see from the cover of your program, the cover of the magazine and everything, Grand Rising is our theme for a whole year. What would happen if for the next 12 months we intentionally started every day with a grand rising? What if we started every single day with positive intentions, with an intentional connection with spirit through spiritual practice? When we do that, we can bring this energy that we feel inside of us, that flame that Ellen read about, we can bring that out into our lives throughout the day. And what did those young men in the shelter do that helped them in the most dire of circumstances? None of us are in that circumstance, but what did they do that we could learn from? They created sustainable spiritual habits and practices that they started their day and they continued through their day. Basically, with the intention to grow and transform, they decided to make their journey a spiritual journey. Have you declared yourself to be on a spiritual journey in 2024? I hope so. Michael Singer wrote The Untethered Soul. If you've never read that book, we might have to snag it. It says, the spiritual journey is one of constant transformation. In order to grow, you must give up the struggle to remain the same and learn to embrace change at all times, he writes. Last week, we decided to let go and try not to remain the same this year. That's what we decided. So as we look to fill this vacuum inside that we created intentionally, what do you want to fill that vacuum with? What are you going to fill it with? Most of us are desirous of situations and people and circumstances and things that invite us to experience the qualities of God that we talk about so much. I don't think there's a one of us in the room that wouldn't want more joy in their lives. Anybody want to opt out of joy? Right? How about peace? I can take some of that, right? Love. In the list of qualities is extensive. Freedom, harmony, growth, strength, wisdom, transformation, wholeness. I could just keep going on. Abundance, prosperity, expansiveness, light, contentment. It's all over the place. All of these beautiful things that all of us want. Did I say anything you don't want? No. And I bet you set some goals or maybe some resolutions if you're old-fashioned as you crossed into 2024. You may have some specific dreams for this year for your life that you want to manifest. All those things are good. And here's what I know. You have a much greater chance of moving toward those goals and dreams and desires when you work with the magic of your soul, when you enlist the presence of spirit to work with you, when you connect with that spiritual energy intentionally, the universe conspires on your behalf. Hear that. The universe conspires on your behalf to help you reach those goals and dreams and desires. So our global theme is Grand Rising. What is your personal theme for the year? Burning in your heart is that flame, but that flame has discontent in it. It wants to grow. It wants something new. each of us have this divine discontent. There's something in us that wants something more. You know how I know? Because y'all are still breathing. At least I think you are. And because you're still breathing, you are wanting to grow. Living things want to grow and expand. And this divine content lifts us up and moves within us. So we're trying to fan the flame this morning by consciously listening to our hearts and our souls. Something is stirring within each and every one of you. So who do you intend to be in 2024? What aspect of spirit or what aspect of your soul is asking to be lived out loud over the next 12 months? It's a new year. What a fine time to begin to bring about all that God has intended for you to have, what your soul is longing for. Let's attend to that this morning. And that brings us to our white stone ceremony. If you haven't been with us here before, how many of you are a little bit puzzled by this whole white stone thing? Is anybody still puzzled? Okay, there's a few. Thank goodness, okay? So the idea of a white stone ceremony comes from part of a Bible verse. So let me share that first. Revelations 2:17 says, "To everyone who overcomes, I will give some of the hidden manna, and I will give a white stone. And on the white stone is written a new name that no one knows except the one who receives it." So I interpret that to mean that within the transformation and evolutionary process that we are all going through, Spirit gives blessings and personal inspiration. It's one of the gifts of Spirit. And when someone is given a new name, how many of you know someone who changed their name? Right? And most of us do for this kind of a thing. I even changed mine, but that's a whole other story. So whenever someone is given a new name, whether in a kind of a cultural ritual or even this personal decision to change their lives, they're recognizing a new identity has been born. So perhaps your New Year's intention, this transformation, blessing, inspiration, and new identities, the birth of a new, beautiful you, if that's what you're about, this is a time. This is the time. The white stone actually has been used for centuries, for ages. In Jesus' time, when people were released from prison or from bondage, they were given a white stone as a symbol of their freedom. So when they moved about in society, people would know they are now free. They are out of their bondage. They can do what they need to do. And I love that we can consider our freedom from the past at this time of new beginning. So let this white stone symbolize your freedom from whatever you stirred into the soup last week, whatever you left behind, what is no longer serving you. You are free from it. And so many of us can relate to a spiritual transformation, that awakening that released us from a prison of some sort. I know there are people in the room who've been released from the prison of addiction, right? Or from limits or beliefs or guilt or shame. We've all been freed from many things by relating to ourselves spiritually. I'm sure you can remember the lightness of being that you felt when you put down a weight, when you put down something that no longer served you. And if you've never had an experience like that, maybe this is the beginning of choosing an experience like that in your life. So the highest and best parts of us are within us to claim when we are ready to leave an old, outdated version of ourselves. The best part of us is just waiting to be lived. How wonderful to come to an understanding of this truth, right? One of our greatest spiritual teachings is that the only thing really that imprisons us and limits are our beliefs and our thoughts, our ways of looking at life that are uniquely our own. And in deciding to change those thoughts and choices, we hold the key to our own freedom. And so this white stone, may it represent a new freedom for you. Just as in biblical days when the newly freed prisoner carried their white stone around, I pray that yours is just as meaningful, that this word for you this year is really important to you. So I invite you to hold your white stone, pick it up and hold it. And if you're watching us at home, you can use any small stone that you write on or a piece of paper until you find a rock or whatever. But feel the smoothness of the stone in your hands. That smooth, clean surface symbolizes this new year of life ahead of you. Just hold it. It is your responsibility to choose what is written on the year ahead and in the stone in your hand. In a little less than 365 days, there will be many, many things written on this year, and you will have written them. What will your stone say at the end of this year? If you summarized each day with one word and etched it onto a stone, what word would you want to show up deeply etched into the stone of this year? So I invite you to close your eyes and center yourself and court the presence and connect with that spirit within you. Follow your consciousness, follow your awareness down and into a place inside where you know that you know that you know that you are a part of something divine, whatever you call it. Feel that sense of life pulsing in your hands as you hold your stone. Feel that sense of life breathing you, being you, and surrender to its wisdom. And allow yourself to melt into that oneness. And allow these words to be heard by and intuited by your highest self, by your soul. Allow possibilities to call to you and speak to you as you surrender in this moment to the unlimited nature and love of spirit within you. I speak in the first person, but I invite my words to be the words of your own heart. I let go and I let God. I surrender to the knowing that I am free from the past and I release any fears that may have held me back. Whatever I may have released in 2023 is not here now, and I affirm that truth. I allow only love and grace to guide my path because I am a glorious expression of God. And I hold this white stone, and it reminds me that I'm free to create and speak my word over my life experiences, and I allow new possibilities and allow my highest self to emerge as I look to the year ahead. As I consider every area of my life, my body, my relationships, my home, my work, my finances, my overall presence in the world, my love, what is mine to reveal as I grow and transform in 2024? What is the purpose of the year ahead for me? If I'm going to live my best life this year, what is mine to do and who am I to be? As I more fully understand my responsibility in co-creating my life, what do I call forth in my experience? What word do I intend to etch onto the stone of my year each day? I claim a new word for the year ahead, a word that inspires me and calls forth my highest and best. And as I reflect in this moment, I listen, knowing that this word is already written on my heart. I trust and know that this word is for me, and I listen now in the silence and receive the word. Thank you, God. Gratitude flows through this room as we receive our words of inspiration and intention. We just bathe in thankfulness this morning as we birth a new way of thinking, a new way of being, a new way of making a difference in our earthly lives. For the love and strength of spirit flows through each one present, each one listening, each one. Thank you, God. And as you are ready, I invite you to open your eyes and write your word upon your stone. And don't worry if you feel like you don't have a word right now. It will come. It'll come. You'll hear it at the right and perfect moment. And when you have written it, I invite you to hold your stone close to your heart in this soft moment. The act of intentionally claiming your word is so powerful. Just let it take on greater and greater meaning as you move through the year ahead. This word has come from the wisdom of your heart. It's calling you forth into greater love and connection with God itself. And together we affirm it is done. So it is. Just want to keep holding mine. So you've set a new intention for yourself, described by this one word, one powerful word. And you can keep the word to yourself and to your own counsel, or you may share it with others as you choose. But now that you have your word for this year, or when you do have it, if you don't have it right now, it's okay. What comes next? What's next with this? Let's look back at our young homeless men. Let's look back at them, at their story. Maybe a practice could support you as living this word. Maybe a vision board would work for you. Take a big poster board and look for pictures that illustrate this word. Maybe how this word shows up in nature. Put it on a board. Put that board somewhere where you can see it. This is your word for the year. How does your word show up in your life? Be grateful every day when you're writing your gratitude journal, which I know you all do. Every night, write down how this word showed up. How did this word show up for you? Those guys also used affirmations. Come up with a short, positive statement that you can say every day to affirm this word. For example, if your word is peace, it can be as simple as I am peace. I am peaceful. You can elaborate more, I'm at peace with my life, or peace is available in this moment if I choose it, right? If you have a relationship with a practitioner, we have practitioners in the room, maybe ask them to write you a spiritual mind treatment just for your word. And that's your prayer for the year, knowing your word is yours. And if that seems like too much and you don't want to bother anybody, they're not bothering us what they're trained to do, but pray for yourself, Spirit, I ask to have this word revealed to me every day. I invite this word to be in my awareness and in my experiences today. What I am seeking is seeking me. Thank you, God, and so it is. Just a little prayer every day. And I also invite you to know this word for every other person. What I know for myself, I know for others. Greet people with a statement if it's peace. I hope you have a peaceful day. Language it. Those young men were languaging their grand rising. Affirm it. Claim it. Look for it. And importantly, when you come into this building every week, because you're all going to be here with me, when you come in, listen for your word. Listen to the lesson. How does it lead you back to your word? Have conversations about your word with others in this room and make note of it when someone uses your word in the world. Say, thank you, God, for that symbol of my word in my life. The bottom line is, I invite you to place this white stone somewhere where you see it. Don't let it gather dust. It's your word for the year. Touch it, listen to it. Listen when you get choices that move you closer and closer to this word. And notice when you have the tendency to resist this word. You have a relationship with this word. I bet you have some resistance to it. Or you think it's not for you, or you think that something stands in your way of this. Daily etch this word into your choices, and it will be a very powerful year. It's going to be a good year. Remember, we are on this journey together. There's this old African proverb I want to share. If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Let's go together. Let's go together. Please pray with me before we have our time of offering. Oh, I just take a deep breath of gratitude. I take a deep breath of connection, knowing that I am surrounded in this moment by people who affirm my freedom for me and with me. I am so grateful for this knowing, this connection to my soul that I've had this morning. I'm so thankful for the year ahead, knowing that I am going to be guided, that my consciousness does prepare the path for me to experience that which I intend. And I know for each person listening to me, every person in the room and everyone listening also knows that God is with them, that the universe conspires for my good. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for this community. I'm grateful for this time that we share. And so it is. So it is. Thank you. So thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you. Before we say farewell to our online folks, I invite all of us into a time of generosity and giving, this gratitude for the Center for Spiritual Living. Just consider for a moment the blessings in your life and the things that you appreciate. And we know that this community is a part of your spiritual support and that you appreciate everything that you receive here. And your gifts ensure that CSL TV remains a light in the brilliant light in Tampa and around the world. And whether you give through texting or through the QR code on the program or whatever, give in the basket, we thank you for your generous support. And I want to do our conscious giving affirmation so that we can collectively bless this offering. And don't forget when the baskets come around to take your rainbow chocolate if you participated. So let's do our conscious giving affirmation together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive abundantly, and so it is. And we will sing. We're not leaving this one behind. I am so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you all. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, online folks. Love you, mean it.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed.